After spending the night on Lake Roosevelt near Porcupine Bay, we're headed up the Spokane Arm in search of walleye. Let's join in on the action. Here you can see on the right side, Sean gets a bite right off the bat. Sets the hook. Reels in a nice fish here to start the day off. I think all of our fish ranged in the 16 to 18 inch range, except for a few small ones. Really pleased with the quality of fish coming out of this area of the lake this year so far. So here's Sean again with the takedown. There you go, buddy. You got a bite. Pull it in. He gets this fish reeled in. And for those of you that wonder, do you ever change the color of your lures? Doesn't matter. So this is Sean's second fish already. And I said, well, that must be a pretty good color, so let's see what we got that's close. Pulled one out, set it up on the rod here. Send it back down. Get down on the bottom, set the pole up. Decide I'm going to hold it. Bang. Fish on. So yes, color is very important. Early in the morning, darker colors can be better. As a general rule of thumb, bright colors, bright days, dark colors. A little bit later here, you see that back rod starts dinging a little. I go back. I like to give the walleye a second to finish their bite, right? You might notice it right away, and he could be there right now, but you'll see in a second with the lures we use, there's quite a bit of worm hanging out there, so I like to make sure they've got the whole bait in their mouth before I set the hook. Bang, fish on. Good fishing partner comes along and nets the fish for me here. So watch this back rod right behind my right shoulder. Nice, slow, steady takedown. I turn around, set the hook, and I knew right away, bigger fish. Just the way it was pulling, just the way it was fighting. So as I'm doing this here, reeling this one in, my left rod actually gets hooked up on the bottom. And rather than sacrifice that and break everything off, you'll see me reach over and I'm just trying to let it free spool long enough to net this fish. So I finally said, screw it, let's just net it. Sean gets it netted, and I'm looking at this thing. That's the biggest fish I've ever caught on Lake Roosevelt. I mean, it's not huge, but 5-pound fish, like 4.8 pounds, pretty good size fish, good size eater. It was excellent, went home and cooked it that night. So you notice Sean's rod here, it's just the bottom, how it bounces up. But then as you wait just a second longer here, you'll see what an actual bite looks like. Nice, soft, steady, tap, tap, tap. He sets the hook. Boom, fish on. That's what you're looking for when you're walleye fishing, folks. Something like a steady pull. It's really hard sometimes to tell the difference between that and the bottom. Sometimes if you just raise your tip a little bit, you'll know if it's a fish or the bottom. Another good size eater for the boat. Walleye tend to be a fish that school up, right? So Sean gets a bite, just misses it. My side gets a bite. Wait for it, set the hook, fish on. And walleye don't fight too terribly much, right? Once you got them hooked, you pretty much just gently reel them in. We're trolling maybe 1.5 miles here. And so it's got a little pressure on them the whole time anyway. So you'll see here in a minute, this is quite a long drift we've made, and we decided we can either keep going or run back up. So we turned around and ran back upstream. So you'll see this video is from a little further upstream. Again, let them bite, let them bite, let them bite. Sometimes they're just there chasing it. You see the pole start to walk backwards. Set the hook.
Yeah.
Nice fish. So, good partner I am, feeling it was a little bigger fish. Hey Sean, come reel this one in. You never know, right? So, let him roll in. He was like, you want me to take the rod? Yeah, take the rod, man. So he works this one up. Ends up being the second biggest fish of the day. Good sized fish for Lake Roosevelt, though. Sometimes you can have to weed through the dinks, you know, the 8 to 12 inchers. But we were lucky this day, and it took some time while we were out on the boat to walk through the setup we were using. So there's some good tidbits here. If you hang on for a few more minutes, you might learn something.
Okay, so we're out here fishing walleye today on the Spokane arm of Lake Roosevelt. So I use a sliding swivel. I put a bead before and after it, and then I have a T-bead here to kind of knock some of the weeds off. And then just whatever, you know, ball bearing swivel you want there. I got about a 3-foot leader then to a slow death hook. I just run some beads and a spinner here, but you could run a smile blade, whatever you want there, but slow death for me has always been the ticket. And so then we're just going to take this out here. Grab a chunky night crawler. You'll take your slow death hook and feed your worm on there. I like to go kind of the darker end of the worm up through that kind of rubber band looking piece is what I normally do. But basically you want a good inch of your worm on there, the hook sticking out, and then this, and what that does is in the water, that worm will just twirl. And the walleye cannot resist it. So we got our bottom bouncer on that sliding swivel, so when the fish hits, it doesn't feel the weight as much. A lot of the commercial off-the-shelf, I'm going to pull a Bill Dancer and get our timer back. But a lot of the commercial off-the-shelf bottom bouncers are kind of set to be a one-piece deal where they've got like an L bracket. So you hook the weight to the end of your line, and your leader hooks right to that same weight. And so when they bite, they feel that weight too. So when the walleye bite this particular setup, they're pulling against the pole and not the weight. So I tend to think it helps a little bit. That's what the old guy at White Elephant convinced me of, so that's what I run. Okay, so we got our line in the water, we check it, make sure everything's running good, spinning, and then we drop it down to the bottom. Today we're fishing at about 25-30 feet of water. Letting that kind of free spool out there. So, hit the water. I kind of give it a pull up, set it back down, maybe a little bit more line. And then I just give it one or two cranks up off the bottom. And I've been setting them in the rod movie. And you'll notice I got these bells on there because I'm a lazy fisherman and I don't have to watch my pole. So I put the bells on there so I can focus on driving and listen for the bites. And we'll just pull along here. Every now and then you'll tick the bottom with that weight. That's okay. You're really letting your pole load up with a fish. And you'll hear that bell ring, or you'll hear it go ding, 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 or you'll look over and it's bent down pretty good. So it's been working pretty good for us today. Been out here a few hours and we probably got, I don't know, 8 or 9 of the suckers. So.